What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, and this is the daily fantasy MLB show on InsidersTV, sponsored by FantasyElite, the app that you can get in the App Store. And with me today, I'm very excited to have Davis Maddock, Napster Man, and Mr. Tuttle. Well, there goes Napster Man. We're like first minute in. This is gonna be a long show. Guys, how was last night for you? Did you have any bats for the Diamondbacks, Davis?
What do you think?
I'm thinking by your reaction, it's a no.
Yeah, I got kicked out of the Survivor because I subbed out Cespedes for Blackman like 10 minutes before lock, and that was the difference. So it was frustrating.
Yeah. How about I had to be for the 200 Survivor. The top 293 moved on. This guy right here, 289.
In the $200 Survivor?
Yep.
Nice.
Soccer
Dave gonna Soccer Dave.
Yeah, I still had 4 to spare. I mean, 4 places to spare. I don't even know why I was like legitimately worried. Although a Rayburn dong would have just killed me. Would have been it was Kipnis dong.
Rayburn. I was gonna say Rayburn only dongs when Tuttle's on him. That's literally the only time.
Did you guys see last night everybody complaining at first about David Price and then later on have to eat their words?
Yeah, that was me. That would have been me leading that charge.
Why?
Well, we had some dude trolling Cardi. Some dude on our Twitter feed was trolling Cardi because he brought up a stat earlier in the day that was just a trash stat. Like, oh, but these guys hit over 270 batting average and blah, blah, blah. And Cardi's like, yeah, that's a lot of noise in that stat. So, of course, when Longoria gets an error and then they score 5 unearned runs, the guy starts trolling Cardi.
Yeah. Our Twitter feed had a little fun with him, though. And he was a good...
Well, here's the thing. Here's what happened for me, is I was like, locking in Strasburg, like I saw that weather cleared, and I'm on G-Chat, and then my best friend Drew Dinkmeyer sends me an Evernote screen cap of the forecast outside of DC, and it just looked like, just complete death. So I was like, shit, have to scramble, have to get Price back in. Now, obviously, Price ended up being okay, but Leone was texting me and making me, like, super mad, just, like, wanting to, oh, I can't believe Dink sent me that. Oh, Strasburg's gonna K, like, 20, blah, 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 and he was just making it worse. So I was super frustrated that he gave up a home run to Donovan freaking Solano. Like, that's awful. That Donovan Solano is terrible. I can't abide by that. Yeah. So that's why it was frustrating for me.
But you do realize, like, you have to just kind of let things play out a little bit.
Yeah, I realize that, but I hate baseball sometimes. It's just so frustrating. Like, I love it. I love the process of constructing lineups and finding trends or whatever. But, like, once lineups lock, it is by far the most frustrating sport. There's no way around it.
Are you going to be this dramatic with NFL?
No,
Okay, good. I'm
a lot better at NFL. I find NFL to be one of the easiest sports to play in terms of a fantasy context.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I just want to make sure that I had... I can tolerate maybe 5 or 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
A full NFL season of this Davis Maddock, it would be a little difficult. So anyways, a gross slate of games for tonight. I'm not sure where Nap is.
His Skype had a random update. He's coming back. There he is.
There he is.
Right on cue.
There's the man. So 6 games tonight. We also have the Fantasy Elite Challenge that you and Nap participated in. So
Did Grant send you that link, or do I need to send him a message?
No, it's on the message. I mean, it's on the screen right now.
Yeah.
So I've already got the link. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, check the chat room, duh.
What's that?
Check the chat room, duh, Davis.
Yeah, Davis.
All right, cool, guys.
Anyways, 6 games tonight, gross slate. What are you going to do? Davis, you said earlier only sick people are going to play cash games tonight.
Yeah, so I'm loaded up.
I think we've already kind of established that we're all sick people.
No, it got a lot better once the weather cleared, but if like 3 of these games got delayed, you'd be playing like a 2-game slate where like Mets hitters were like 75% of your action. So, yeah, that's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
The only game we're concerned about in terms of weather right now is the Twins-Brewers game. But other than that, I think all these other games should be fine. I was saying before the show, I live like an hour away from the Kauffman Stadium, and it's been sunny all day, so I'm not really worried about taking Waka tonight. Although he has gotten rain in like 3 of his last starts, hasn't he?
Yeah, and you know the weather, like he's had a lot of bad luck, but you know the weather is not about what has happened in the past. It's about like what's going to happen in the future.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's cool, Dave.
No, it was sunny an hour ago, so I mean, we're good for the night.
I mean,
well, I'm saying that a forecast at noon today was telling me that there was an 85% chance that it was raining an hour away from where I was. Okay. I went out to go get the mail, and the sun is shining, and I'm hearing like birds chirping. So I'm really not all that worried about it, is what I'm saying.
Hashtag weather analysis. Hashtag birds chirping.
Davis is our weatherman.
Well, it looks like we got birds chirping right here to the east of us.
But...
You know what that means? Sunny and clear.
Hate you guys.
I'm sorry. I'm not even trolling you on a message board. I'm just trolling you in the video. But
all right, cool.
You deserve it by saying that it's not going to rain because birds are chirping. That is not a thing in the weather.
No, that's
circle.
Hashtag analysis, dude.
You need to
you're not getting that anywhere else.
You need to get on weather Twitter because weather Twitter would be roasting you right now.
Weather Twitter would not be happy with this process. They would tell me that I was being results oriented.
All right, fair enough. Move on. I'm done trolling.
Okay. Well, let's talk about pitchers then. I'm assuming that Waka is the number 1 option for both of you guys. Do either of you guys have any disagreements there? Nap, you look a little hesitant, maybe.
Price isn't, he's probably the top like skilled pitcher, but I like DeGrom's matchup a little better. The Royals are just, I don't know, they're kind of feisty right now. I'm not really kind of confident that Waka's going to go super deep.
Except they've been feisty with like relief pitchers though. Like Wainwright just made those dudes look so dumb yesterday.
Yeah, Wainwright's different class than Waka to me, but I just. For the price, I mean, on some sites I'm going to DeGrom a little heavier, but Waka, I mean, single pitcher probably go him in cash game, but I just have a feeling about DeGrom tonight. It's a preference, really.
That's kind of funny because I was like looking at some of the guys who took my head-to-heads on FanDuel today, and I think maybe it was because of the weather and it was the all day, but a lot of people took DeGrom, like a lot of players that people would recognize.
Just a sick.
DeGrom, so he
has 10K upside. It's like, and he's getting better every start, it looks like, and now he's got like wind blowing in against the Cubs team. It's just, I think he could be one of those sick breakout like Elias complete games against Detroit. Like this could be DeGrom's night,
The thing I would like to caution people on is that what he's doing at the major league level right now, he hasn't done since high A. He hasn't K'd more than 7.5 batters per 9 ever. Until he got to this level, and he's a little bit older for a prospect. He's 26, and his walk rate is super concerning. Walking 4 guys per 9 innings is definitely high. So I'm on board with you. I do think he's in a good spot versus the Cubs. I don't really respect their lineup all that much. Outside of Rizzo, none of those guys really scare me.
Yeah.
And the Vegas total definitely supports that, but he's definitely, like, his results have not matched his skills so far, basically.
Okay.
Where are you at on that, Tuttle? Are you more with Nap? You have a feeling, or are you a little bit hesitant?
I would be hesitant to roster DeGrom. I mean, tonight sucks. Let's just be honest.
No, it does. It's terrible.
it's a horrible night. I'd rather go back to talking about birds chirping and weather and whatnot because it's just it's a nasty night.
Well,
a lot of bats
better at birds.
Exactly. So. Exactly. I'm actually on, if I'm playing like a two-pitcher site, DraftKings or Draft Street, I think I'd rather have Dinks Man and go Travis Wood in that game just because of the price.
Wood at that comment, if you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, you're looking at a $2,700 price difference. Wood's not nearly as bad of a pitcher as we make him out to be on the show, including Derek Carty. I mean, he's not. He's an average pitcher. We'll give him that, but he's not nearly that bad. He doesn't have the platoon advantage on most of the lineup, but still, $2,700 cheaper on DraftKings. Cubs are actually the slight favorites. I think he would be the way I would go on DraftKings or Draft Street.
Yeah, and he's been getting super unlucky this year. His strand rate is way below league average. But he hasn't been walking that many guys. He's actually been K'ing more guys per 9 innings than he has for his career, and that might just be because he's let more base runners on. But I'm hesitant to use both of those guys, honestly, and I think I might end up just using Wood just based on price. Like I kind of really want to get Altuve in my lineups today, and he has like a ridiculous price tag everywhere. So forcing him in my lineups is going to require cutting somewhere else pretty significantly. Do you like Wood at all, Nap, or are you sticking with your boy DeGrom?
For cash games, I'm using either DeGrom Skaggs or DeGrom Waka on two pitcher sites. I like K's, and I don't want like not 8 righties going against Wood. Like he can just blow the up. Like I mean, yeah, the names aren't huge like Campbell, Brown, Flores, Tejada, but I mean, they can all dong. Like Tejada donged yesterday. Like it's not a safe lineup to go against. I feel tonight. It's just I want the upside, not like the Vegas line price. I want the potential 10Ks against better. I mean, it's just
DeGrom has way more upside. They both have their reasons to use tonight. It's just which one do you want to put your money? Which one do you feel safe about? It's a gut call to me. It's not. Yeah, the numbers might say Wood's a little better, but I don't know. I don't even think the numbers would say actually that Wood is all that much. Other than the walk rate, DeGrom is basically better than Wood in like all of these categories as of right now. So I don't have any problem with saying DeGrom is the better play. But if you are really trying to get some of these higher priced bats in your lineups, I think you have to make a sacrifice. Because I honestly don't even think Waka's optional tonight. Like, yeah, Kansas City's a little feisty, but also like they're not hitting any home runs. So if they're doing damage to you, it's like single, walk, single. Yeah. Like that's how they're scoring runs. Like stealing bases, like sacrifice bunts, shit like that. Because like they're just terrible. They have no power. And I think Waka can get. We do talk about the Royals not striking out a lot, but the right pitches can get guys like Hosmer. It's mostly guys lower in the lineup that don't strike out a lot. Like Butler just grounds out to short every single time against a good right-handed pitcher. Like that's a lock.
Yeah.
Outside of the, go ahead.
Ventura, like same game. I think, he's at home. I think he could definitely. He's coming off an injury, but I think he's in play for GPP definitely.
Yeah, I kind of like Giordano. I haven't been able to read anything or see anything regarding a pitch count. Obviously, they're going to be a little more careful with him, but I haven't seen anything. It's only been like 9 or 10 days since his last start, so it wasn't an extended time on the DL. So you would think he'd still get 85 to 100 pitchers.
He didn't even get put on the DL. Yeah. The thing that I would caution about that is so that what the injury was is it was the opposite side of his elbow from where the UCL is, the muscle that everyone tears when they get the Tommy John, and it was just inflammation. But this is what I'll say, is he stopped throwing his off-speed stuff with as much control as soon as the injury started being a problem. It started back in the White Sox start. I would just be I couldn't use him anywhere just because I watched that start versus the Astros. His fastball velocity dipped like 5 miles an hour, and he had no idea where the ball was going. And if a guy who relies on his velocity to get outs doesn't have the velocity, it's going to be really, really ugly.
Well, do you think they're gonna? He threw 2 pretty solid bullpen sessions in the last few days. Do you think they're really gonna put him out there if there are indications of that in the last couple of bullpen sessions he threw?
Yes, it's the Royals. I absolutely.
There's no way.
No, even if he was still uncomfortable, they would throw him. The Royals
There's
have a
no
lot.
way. I mean, you can't say that. You're saying that just because you hate the Royals management, which is fine. But if you look they've pretty closely monitored his pitch count. They've been pretty safe with him throughout the year. They're not just going to be randomly not safe with him this year. They're just coming off an injury.
Bet.
Yeah, we will make a bet. Hold on. Let me make my point, though. The reason that I say that is that they've done this with 2 pitchers with elbow inflammation in the last 3 years. They did it with Duffy before he tore his UCL. They let him pitch through elbow inflammation, and they did it with Felipe Paulino, who tore his UCL. They let both of those guys pitch through elbow inflammation, and they both had to get Tommy John. So I absolutely do think that they would do that to a pitcher, no matter how good they were, because they've done it in the past. It's not a smart or conscionable team at all. They just make bad decisions.
So what are we debating? Like, don't use him in a single pitcher cash game? Like, no one, like, we're not saying, like, we're just saying he's a GPP option, right? Like,
yeah, I'm just being a dick.
Okay, I mean, we're just like debating something that, like, sure, you can use him, he might be risky, but I mean, the upside's still there.
Yeah, no one's arguing he's not risky. Okay.
But
I mean, the game's it's a pick'em game, so you're getting a coin flip on the win. If it happens to go Ventura's way, I mean, GPP option for sure with high strikeout potential.
All right. No, I agree, and he's one of my favorite pitchers. I would love to feel comfortable taking him tonight. I just don't.
I have more questions like about Skaggs. Like I keep wanting to use him, but it's just scaring me. I don't know. Anyone using Skaggs?
I definitely won't use Skaggs, but I'm like a noted Astros believer.
How'd that work out last night?
Yeah, and that's the upside because they just go out there and hack. Oh, Dave is so proud of himself. Yeah. But yeah, like they go out there and it was one of the times Singleton led off the inning and they let Garrett Richards get away with an immaculate inning. Nine pitches, 9 strikes, struck out the side 9 pitches. But the other night to C.J. Wilson, they scored 5 runs in 3 innings. Like that's what you're dealing with there. I don't feel safe with him in cash games at all. But definitely, I would say I like him as a tournament play better than Ventura. Just based off of like, you could go out there and the Astros could strike out 15 times, like no problem.
Yeah, it's just he's got a huge price difference on like draft day is probably the biggest one. DraftKings is like 2K, so right now I have Skaggs DeGrom on draft day because I want certain bats, but I'm not feeling too confident. I hope I get 5 innings, 6 Ks, and less than 3 earned, basically. For the price on it.
That's tough. He's striking out a lot less batters this year, which I actually didn't realize. I don't know if they tinkered with his velocity or anything. But
and the Astros hit lefties. They're known for that. That's also scary. Yeah. But they can suck at any moment. They do have mostly righties though. They got switch hitters. It's not ideal, but it's just the price. I
honestly think their lineup got a little bit worse versus left-handed batters with the Singleton call-up though, because they have him batting 5th and he's a left-handed batter. So that's. You wouldn't think this, but you would rather have Singleton there than Chris Carter if you were taking a left-handed pitcher versus them. So I don't hate him as a tournament option, but you need to understand that your batters could go off and Singleton or Skaggs could completely ruin your night by giving up 4 earned runs in like 3 innings.
Yeah, single pitcher, I can't touch him.
Yep.
We should play like DFS roulette, where you have to we just basically roll the dice, you get stuck with the pitcher, and you have to create a lineup around that pitcher.
Okay.
Never mind.
I mean, that's pretty easy.
Sounds awesome.
Oh, man. There's birds chirping outside, so I'm going to let you guys
never going to live that one down. Sweet. Sweet.
Hashtag birds chirping. Just like anything that happens for Davis, birds chirping.
Oh, birds chirping.
Yep.
Let's talk about hitters though. We spent enough time talking about these gross pitchers because all your cash game opponents are going to have Waka. So let's talk about some hitters. Starting with stacks, which side do you like better, Arizona or Colorado total?
It's close. I would have liked it if we had a little more left-handed bats from Colorado.
Both of the lineups suck.
Yeah, I think I'll go Colorado, though, still.
I mean, the only difference is Stubbs and Owings instead of Didi and who was in yesterday?
Morneau.
Yeah.
Morneau,
He's playing first.
Yeah, Morneau.
I mean, they're basically the same lineups, but I think you can fit more Diamondbacks probably.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah, because they're so cheap.
You're probably pitching with that stack, but they're all in play.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
talk about.
we saw last night the Diamondbacks scored 16 runs. It does not matter. It does not, once those games get into the bullpens, it's completely anyone's, no one knows what's going to happen once those games get into the bullpens. So if you decide tonight, you're like, I'm just going to get on FanDuel, I'm going to throw in Waka, I'm going to take the 4 Diamondbacks that fit, I'm going to take the 4 Rockies that fit, that's going to be my cash lineup. I have no problem with that at all.
If you don't have time, that's definitely the way to go. You don't have research time.
Yeah. And I would like to say the guys I have in my lineup, I actually really like the Angels versus Peacock. They're left-handed guys. I really like Calhoun and Hamilton. Hamilton's going to have a really big game at some point. Obviously, returning from the DL, he has really bad command of the strike zone. That dude is a hacker. But I forgot what the weighted on base average is, but Peacock gives up a 5.7 ERA to left-handed batters at home, though. Just ridiculous. I'll go look up the weighted on base average once we get to the outfield. But yeah, I really like him and Calhoun, especially now that Scioscia's finally decided that Calhoun can lead off. Are you on board with that?
Yeah. Hamilton, probably the top guy in that lineup I'd use for the price. 37 on FanDuel's not bad at all. Trout's still 5K, and isn't he over 5 or about 5 today?
Yeah, and you can't use him because he's
the bat. He could come out of any swing, any bad slide. It's super risky for Trout. And Calhoun, where his price is nice, I don't mind him at all leading off.
The problem is the bats that you want to target for the Angels are in positions that you like elsewhere. You want the outfield bats from the Angels, but you want the outfielders in the Colorado-Arizona game.
I'm fine.
Parra and Calhoun, they're almost the same price.
I'm fine taking Calhoun over Parra, especially in a tournament, just to diversify a little bit. Calhoun's a really good player, but he hasn't really had that many good games since coming up. He's had one really good game since returning from the DL, but his scouting pedigree or whatever is way better than the player that he's been thus far. So I have no problem taking Calhoun over Parra. Maybe not in a cash game. Parra is definitely safer in a cash game because he's going to get 6 at-bats and cores, and that huge that huge outfield definitely plays into his skills. But in a tournament, I would definitely rather have Calhoun.
Yeah, he'll be probably half his owned, maybe less.
Yeah. And I don't think there are any qualifiers tonight, but if there was, I definitely would have an Astros stack versus Skaggs, because when they go off with 6 home runs. That's how they do it. Matt Dominguez double dongs for everybody. All right. Any other stacks? That's probably about it.
Oh, Baltimore definitely always in play.
Yeah, either side of that game, I think you could go.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's talk about actual positions now. We're at 4:30. It's time. Let's talk about some catchers. This is a pretty short conversation, in my opinion. I think you just have to play Montero. Yeah. No.
Sorry, I'm trying to reach out. Yeah, Montero's my number 1. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking at lineups now, and you can't really find another catcher that you want to play. Possibly Rosario, but he doesn't have the platoon advantage.
Mauer, maybe. Lucroy, maybe.
You might want to avoid that game altogether. It's
I know.
Looking like too. So,
it's Montero, Rosario, and then either a punt, maybe.
Well, let's put it this way: if you don't take Montero tonight in a cash game, a double up, and he hits a home run, you're done. Yeah. You're completely toast. Because
he's 3,100 on FanDuel. Don't even mess around there for cash game.
So Tommy G claims to have a rule of where you don't take crappy players because they're just crappy.
And then
he suggests Carlos Corcoran. Exactly.
I love Carlos Corcoran. Every year when I play like in AL only seasonals, which I try to do, I didn't get in one this year. I take Corcoran just because I like switch hitting catchers, but he sucks. He has a sub 300 career weighted on base average versus
I'm
both
looking at
sides.
it now.
Right?
275
like
WOBA,
once a week.
.087 ISO against left-handed batters.
Pitchers.
Pitchers. That means you want him in your lineup because he's probably gonna. I don't know how you can even debate how Tommy can even debate that he's not crappy.
Because what he does is like he's one of those hitters who like when they do make contact, he does things that like score fantasy points. I think would probably be Tommy's argument, and I'm on board with him. I've had this conversation with Drew a bunch of times where I've been on Tommy's side of it, and I'm like, no, Carlos Corcoran's good, and then Drew's like, no, he has a .074 ISO. That's not good.
I mean,
Tommy claims he dongs. He's hit one home run against a lefty in 2014, one home run against a lefty in 2013.
I had him on my roster on draft day when he hit that home run last year.
Nice. I mean, he's not the thing I like about him is he's not going to get pinch hit for probably. Especially if they bring a righty reliever in. Like, there's not many. Switch hitting. Is there any other switch hitting catcher tonight? Like he's not gonna get like sub. Like the other guys could. Like Yachty won't. Rosario probably won't. Montero, no.
I will.
Yeah. So I mean, that's if you want like 4+ at bats guaranteed for like bare minimum. Sure. I mean.
Except Castro's not in the lineup, so I could actually see him getting pinch hit for. I know he's a switch.
Yeah. Once a lefty or once a righty comes in.
Yeah.
It could easily happen.
I think he could pinch hit for like Singleton if lefty reliever. Or wow, what am I talking about Singleton? Yeah, it's just I'm just trying to find reasons to use Corcoran. I mean, he can't homer. It's just if you can get a minimum price and like your other bats, sure.
Yeah, but that's really about it. Now that being said, Carlos Corcoran's double donging and winning and winning Tommy a GPP. That's happening.
against the left-handed pitcher because he's horrible from the right side of the plate.
Yep, that's absolutely happening. All right, yeah. Cool. Shortstop.
Thanks.
I want Nap to talk about Chris Owings because like I went to go pull up his Fangraphs page 2 days ago when Cardi was all over him. Like Cardi was like, "Got to get this guy in your lineups. He's in a great spot. Whatever." And I looked at his Fangraphs page and I was like, I have no idea what Derek is seeing because he sucks against both hands. Like he's just not good. And then he had that great game. He hit a triple. He donged. He scored a bunch of runs. So he's been good in this series. So what is it that you like about Owings? Just the lineup spot and cores?
Lineup spot, cores. I think he has a couple stolen bases on the year. Like he has that potential. And just the availability tonight, like and the upside. Like there's not many shortstops after Tulo that I really even want to play. Like there's like Segura's probably got the best spot in the order. Danny Santana maybe if you're not scared of the rain in that game for minimum price. Andrews doesn't have the upside as Owings to me. Hardy's just I don't play JJ Hardy,
no, he's bad.
I just don't.
He's
like
bad.
He can Starling Castro, I mean I'm on DeGrom, so I'm not using him.
I always on these shitty nights I actually gravitate towards Castro a lot because I don't think he's a very good player, but he has probably the most power out of any shortstop other than Tulo. Mm-hmm. So on like a night like this, I actually have no problem. Even against a good pitcher, I have no problem taking Castro. Because, yeah, they're low frequency, but when he does make contact, again, he's a guy who scores a lot of points when he does make contact. Which one of these guys are...
And there's also kind of a little, what's that called, competition between Didi and Owings, like, who's going to get more playing time. Like, Didi's back. Like, they're both probably going to be playing all out, So, I think it's a good spot for him. After Didi homered yesterday, now it's his turn, like, to kind of show the coach, get me in there.
The motivational factors. Yes.
Nap kills it with the motivational angles. No one in this industry is better at the motivational angle than
they are pretty angry.
Do you like any of these?
I like his price.
Do you like any of these punt shortstops, Tuttle? Any of these really cheap guys? Marwin Gonzalez for the minimum. Yes, just anybody like that. Is there anyone that you could just punt with and expect, 1 or 2 FanDuel points?
What is I know he's shortstop eligible on DraftKings. Santana, possibly if that game goes, he would be just batting order and stolen base potential. I'm going a shortstop in Coors. But if you're looking somewhere else, I think he's a punt option, especially on DraftKings where it's only 2,400.
I like that Santana Dozier combo leading off.
Yep, I absolutely, I'm on board with that. I can vibe with that, if you will.
You can chirp birds with that.
I can chirp birds. I could see Santana going out there and chirping some birds, getting some bird points.
Hashtag chirp the birds.
Hashtag chirp the birds. All right,
that's
second
definitely going
base.
to be the new hashtag for when something good happens. Like, instead of saying the sun is shining, you just say birds chirping.
Birds chirp birds. All right, second base. I am trying to find a way to get Altuve in. That's the direction that I'm heading. I just love taking him versus left-handed pitching, and even once that game gets to the bullpen, he's actually been an above-average hitter versus right-handed pitching this year. He steals bases. He's got like a little bit of power. Like, you're never counting on power for him, but he does have like a little bit of it. Like, he has an ISO greater than 100, which is not bad from a middle infield slot. That being said, he's like super expensive everywhere but FanDuel. Like, on DraftKings, it's like he's more than all the stud first basemen on DraftKings. You like Altuve, Tuttle?
I can see it. I'd rather just go Coors with Aaron Hill, even though he's getting a little further down in the order. For where he's significantly cheaper, I think I'd just rather go that direction, or even just go all out punt with Culverson, even though he underperformed last night.
He definitely did.
No, Culverson's
punt LeMahieu.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the two.
The thing with Culberson is that he's terrible and they pinch hit for him. Like, that's just not a combination you want to get into at all. Like,
for min price, if you're getting 3 at bats, you're fine with that, which is what he gets when he starts, even when he gets pinch hit.
Yeah, you'll take your negative 0.75.
What you got last night?
I'm basically on Dozier just across the industry. Just he's about the same price as Altuve on DraftKings. He can steal as much as Altuve. He has probably way more power. More likely to steal against a righty than against a lefty for Skaggs. Yeah. Altuve. I'm just going Dozier. He's killing right now, and I don't like anything else really.
I think I'm going Coors where it fits because Coors basically. I don't like Johnson.
Prado's eligible. I like him a second too.
I have a great stat on Arroyo. I was listening to the ESPN Fantasy Focus podcast today. In 7 career starts with the guy who's going to be the home plate umpire tonight, Arroyo has like a 5.8 ERA. So you combine that with Coors, like I definitely. Wait, no, that wouldn't matter for Hill. I'm an idiot.
No,
Hill?
No, keep going. Keep going. I like where this is headed.
You're making a case for Culverson, which I thank you.
Yeah.
Out of Culberson's last 10 games, he has reached positive figures in 3 of them, and his highest total is 3.5. So
that's fine with me.
3.5 is nice for a punt play.
I'm fine with it.
You're much more likely to get the classic negative 0.75 out of your punt. Like, that's the Ruben Tejada line.
Well, and I mean, other than the fact that you're completely lying about him reaching positive 3 times out of the last 10 games, other than that, we're good.
Pulled it up.
Yeah, I have it. I literally have it up. It's 5 of the last 10 on.
No, it's
at
not.
At least is what FanDuel is showing.
What are we talking about? I don't even know.
We're talking about Charlie Culberson and his terribleness. No,
Why?
I think I'm gonna go. Good question. No, I think Aaron Hill is probably, even though he doesn't have the platoon and he's lower in the order. I just think you play Coors with him, and he's a better hitter than Culberson, and he's at a reasonable price at $3K. I think that's the way you have to go. Any other second baseman worth mentioning? Altuve, Dozier, Hill, Culberson.
God, I'm looking. I mean, Scooters. If that game's in play, I mean, he's batting 7th. It's not great. So
Yeah.
He's not 22 anymore in FanDuel, which sucks. So maybe GPP if he homers.
I mean, I guess I should mention, since I was talking about having concerns about Ventura, I guess I should mention Colton Wong batting 2nd against him.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's like the percentage play, and he's not a very good hitter either.
I mean, I don't know why he hasn't stolen bases at all. Like, he was kind of known for being a steal guy. He's just not, and none of the Cardinals are really this year. So yeah, I'm not really on that offense today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Moving on. First. Yeah. All right. Cool.
I'm gonna post something in chat that I would give my 2-year-old to try to teach him how to count. But I'll post it in there for you, Davis, so you can see and try to learn how to count on the show.
I knew you were working on something. I knew it.
I fucking hate Tuttle so much.
I'm gonna print that out and give it to Kai after he's done with his nap, so he can try to learn how to count.
That's
to 5.
not a bad thing. Application-based learning for kids based on DFS.
Yeah. All right.
As long as you don't put like stuff about weather in there.
Yeah, weather's hard, honestly. As far as first base goes, are you guys looking outside of Chris Davis or Goldschmidt at all, Tuttle?
No. I don't mind going on DraftKings. Kadyr's actually first base eligible. I don't mind going that route, but I think it's one of those 3.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that at all. I didn't know he was first base eligible there, even though he doesn't.
The only other guys I'm considering like kind of hedging on FanDuel are Campbell and Brown at 4 and 5 hole. They're 29 for Campbell, 2,200 for Andrew Brown. You know, stack like the best bats and just kind of hedge those 2 in the first base spot and hope one of them just goes nuts. You can definitely win a tournament that way. Everyone's going to be on Goldschmidt and Davis. Like, I could see them probably splitting 85% of ownership in tournaments. Like, there's just not much else. So get that other 5% each on those other 2, and you can kill the field if those other 2 don't homer.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about those guys.
You don't need to know anything for their price.
Yeah, they're just kind of gambles. Like, don't like study them. They can homer.
Yeah, I mean they're guys that have a little power, but they're purely gambles. And I think it brings up a decent point, like on DraftKings, and we had talked about this I think earlier this week about the playing your own hitter versus your own pitcher. Where you can get Eric Campbell on 2,400 on DraftKings. You can get Travis Wood for 6,800 on DraftKings. I don't think it's a bad night to employ that strategy.
And then just load up.
Yep, and just load up on everything else.
They can do a lot of pinch hitting, though. They got Duda on the bench, Bobby Abreu on the bench. Like, that's kind of scary, too.
Yeah, which is, I think they're showing that they're going to do that with their last lineups that they've run out. Is they're clearly, going to play the platoon where they have it.
Yeah. And it's worth noting, Brown is not a good hitter, but he has also a little bit of reverse splits in terms of ISO, but like he's not like a no power guy. I just went to go look at his fan graphs. He's actually decent, so I don't hate that as a punt at all. I'll go look Campbell up here in a second. In terms of Goldschmidt versus Davis, which one are you taking? Tuttle.
Depends on the site.
Knapp was talking about it earlier before we went on the show, and I think I kind of side with him in the fact that you can get. I mean, Goldie can get you more than just a home run or the power stats. He's got the potential where if he gets on and walks, he can steal a base. So I think I do kind of side with Goldschmidt a little bit. He's batting higher in a better spot in the order. So I think if it's between the 2, I think I got to go Goldie.
He's got better protection behind him. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, on FanDuel, it's like a huge difference in price. On DraftKings, not so much. And I don't know how many people will be playing Draft Street tonight with like the lack of pitching options. I know on short slate nights, I tend to not play on Draft Street just because it's impossible to put together a pitching staff that I like. But if you are playing there, there's also a huge price difference there. So I think that'll probably break the tie for a lot of people. But, yeah, I do agree with the point.
Sites are pretty big. FanDuel's pretty big difference. DraftKings pretty big.
Yeah. Well, on DraftKings, it's actually that's the smallest difference. Oh wow, I did not know Goldschmidt was that expensive there.
Yeah,
it's never
like 5
mind.
and 39. What's Davis there? 42.
45.
Oh, that's not that big. Yeah, draft days like 1,800. It's pretty big.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about third base. I think there actually are some more decisions that you have to make on third base because you have to choose between the Arizona guys, you'd have to choose between Prado. I talk about him a lot, but Matt Dominguez is in play. Beltre's playing tonight. David Wright is playing tonight as well, and he has the platoon advantage in the 3-hole versus Wood, who we talked about as a pitching option, but still, he's like not that great of a pitcher, especially, and he has pretty wide platoon splits. So, which way are you leaning at third base, Tuttle?
I'll let Nat field it because I really don't have. I don't have a good feel for it tonight. Third base is one where it's just kind of. I'll probably fill in based on what salary is remaining among what options you just presented. I think a guy that you didn't touch on that just came back off the DL, hit a home run last night, and is underpriced would be Aramis Ramirez. If that Brewers Minnesota game does go, I think he's in a pretty good spot. But yeah, I don't have a good feel on it, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a big price difference for Aramis, especially on DK between him and Beltre. Like those are kind of my two guys I'm debating. FanDuel, they're similar. I'm going probably Beltre a little more. He's 3 for 8 with a homer if you're in a BVP. Aramis only has like 1K and like 20 at bats off Correa, so he sees him well. But the rain, I don't know. It's just not. I think Beltre's in a little better condition. A little hotter. I don't know. They're just similar. I'd rather go Beltre. And then Prado's always in play.
Yeah.
Tillman is actually a reverse splits pitcher to this point in his career. We don't know if that will hold up, but to this point in his career, he is.
Beltre's just spraying it like 2 Aqua Dongs yesterday. He makes contact. It's going far.
And Beltre is actually really good against same-handed pitching. Like, he's not one of those guys you have to worry about, like, especially, and normally this matters when he's going against lefties, but once it gets in the bullpen, he's fine no matter who they throw at him. So I don't hate taking Beltre. That being said, I'm probably locking and loading my boy Matt Dominguez because he's super cheap everywhere. Like,
I hate Dominguez, dude.
No, he's not that well. He's not that great, but he's not as bad as most people would think he is, being the starting third baseman for the Astros. Like, he's not as bad as you would think, but he's also not great. Obviously, I think Beltre is the most optimal play here in terms of Tillman having the reverse splits. But it's also hard to get all the Rockies outfielders, all those guys you want, and Goldschmidt, and get Beltre, and especially if you're taking Waka. I think that's just a really hard lineup to make. And in terms of decision making, I would have Beltre, maybe 4th or 5th of the guys I really wanted to get in. Like, I would definitely have him after the first baseman. I might even put him after Altuve, just based on the other guys. Just based off the other guys you can take at third base.
Okay. Yeah. I was trying to compare Altuve and Beltre. I'm like,
Well, yeah, because your option at second base is you're going to take someone without the platoon.
You don't like Dozier? Like, you haven't even
I don't think that game gets played.
Okay, I mean there's a reason, but I guess don't know. Altuve's gotta have a couple hits and a couple stolen bases to really, hit that price tag on a couple sites.
Oh, actually, it's looking like that game is clearing up a lot.
Yeah, it should play. It just might be a delay, but I think it's fine.
Yeah, when the show started, it was like 40% throughout the game, but that stuff just changed to 0, so I'm actually not as worried about it now. Cool. Well, let's move on to outfield.
The weather's fine, dude. Tommy's like, what the hell are we talking about?
I gotta Google, but when we started the show, it wasn't fine. I gotta Google, cool podcast transition phrases or something.
Google it exactly like
that exists.
Phrase, too. Cool podcast transition phases.
Outfield, like it is most nights, you're faced with a lot of decisions. So the first thing I'm going to ask you guys is, if you have to choose between Blackmon or Dickerson, which one are you taking? Nap?
Dickerson's way cheaper on a couple sites. FanDuel is the same, I think.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know. It's just... I personally like Dickerson, just because he's going to get a little more RBI spots. Tulo and Kadire, Stubbs definitely get on base a lot this game, I think. So Blackmon, he can steal bases, but I think Dickerson's got a little more upside tonight.
Dickerson
guys on base ahead of him. Yeah.
Yeah, and he also has a 700 slug versus right-handed pitching. Now, great, super small sample size because he hasn't played that much this year at all. But the Rockies really only deploy him when he's in a hashtag pretty good spot. So, And I don't think Arroyo is a good pitcher at all, and I definitely think that this is a hashtag pretty bad spot for him as a starting pitcher. Yeah. Blackman or Dickerson, Tuttle?
I like Blackman leading off. Last night it was a little more of a question for me because they were batting 1 and 2. Dickerson may get more RBI opportunities, but I think the extra plate appearance that Blackman could get is the weighing factor for me.
I'll take the extra at bat and the run scoring potential over RBI like any day. Honestly, like that's sort of the way I look at it. I'll take a 1-hitter over a 5-hitter if like the skills and price are the same most of the time. Is sort of the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I just like Dickerson. He just feels like he swings. He goes for homers more. Like Blackman's just kind of a dinker.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a dinker. That's what he does.
He can double down. He's done it a couple times this year, but Dickerson's just seems like all he does is swing as hard as he can.
Yeah. I mean, Blackman does have that cool beard, though, so that like has to add some extra swag points.
This is true. This is very true.
Yeah.
Beard's getting it done.
So outside of those guys, I assume you guys are both really on Para?
Yeah.
Leading off in course? Tuttle?
He's just so cheap everywhere. He hasn't... nothing's updated on him. Like, under 3 on FanDuel, like, it's almost must-play for cash game, I think, if you can fit your 2 favorite other bats. Like, DraftKings 36, like... For his home run, stolen base environment, like it's just all there tonight, Same as yesterday.
I'm completely on board with that analysis for sure. I really like Hamilton tonight. I know Peacock has been better in his last couple starts, but here's a fun fact. All of Josh Hamilton's home runs this season came against the Astros. Now, granted, it's in like it's like 12 games because he was on the DL for a while. But I just thought that was interesting. Someone just tweeted that at me not that long ago. I forget who. I just really like him though. I think like if you're looking at FanDuel, he's like a 4.2 player and he's at 3.7. So I think you're getting a discount on his skills basically. And I mentioned that I like Calhoun too. So outside of sort of those obvious plays, are there anyone kind of off the radar? Do you like those Mets outfielders? Nap.
I have a little Chris Young in a couple tournaments, but just because he's leading off against a lefty, that's about it. The only reason I don't really like him at all as like a player, but he's super cheap. He's 27 on FanDuel. And then I like the Willingham Arcia combo.
I love Arcia.
Yeah, they're killing it right now. Like Willingham's pretty streaky, and he's just in that zone right now.
Tommy hates Arcia. Tommy hates him just for what.
I hate him because he's been in my like first draft lineup the last 3 days, and I just keep taking him out, and it's really frustrating because he's really good. Well, he's not really good. He's got a lot of power.
It's like the better he performs, the lower his price goes.
He's under 3 on FanDuel and coming off a couple pretty good games. It's just their pricing takes like a week to update. It seems like, especially on Scooter.
He's a reverse splits pricer.
Last year was so awesome when he was 2K on DraftKings. Oh, it was amazing.
Oh, he was under 2, I think, when he first got called up. He was like
no one was under 2 last year.
Okay, so yeah, he was 2 for a long time. Yeah,
Gosh,
that was awesome.
There's so much misinformation going on in the show. I don't even know who to believe.
$200 price difference. Misinformation.
Still, Stephen Romero 1800 still is the best.
That was
play ever on DraftKings.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at Molina; he's like 1800. Him and Caleb Joseph, they're staying at 1800. They might actually.
Caleb Joseph is terrible.
They might actually give you money to play them in the future.
Cologne than Molina batting.
That's impressive.
That is. It's like
Molina's like slower too.
The Sam Fold free last year on FanDuel. Anyone remember that?
Yes.
But he didn't end up being in the lineup. Yeah, he wasn't in the starting lineup though. That would have been fun to see how many people took him though.
But
he was legitimately $0?
Yeah, they messed up on the pricing.
Yeah, I think so.
Didn't they put like an error message though, like on the lineups page?
Yeah, they let people know that he was free and they weren't changing the price because they couldn't. But But yeah, he didn't end up being in the starting lineup, so no one.
No, the all-time mistake is Puig on Star Street.
For minimum salary.
2K.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for baseball.
That was epic.
It was during a decent, like an important streak too.
Yeah, and he had a good game.
And like only 60% of like the streak was on him or something like that. It was like
no one scrolls down to that. Yeah, no one saw him.
Like the all-time mistake was Steph Curry.
For 2K on Draft Street.
For basketball, yeah.
Currygate.
That was amazing.
I'm talking about all-time mistake when he was they forgot to add his zero to his salary, which is kind of important on Draft Street. So instead of 20,000, he was 2,000, and less than like 30% actually played him. This was like in the good old days where you didn't have really smart guys giving away advice. And
where do they do that at?
Really sexy guys giving away advice and stuff.
Oh,
so
okay, that's us.
We're kind of in this transition period between the industry like blowing up and getting like more fish in. Pretty much a lot of.
But right now, everyone's just cannibalizing each other. All the guys who play high stakes, all the guys in the high stakes double ups, spend all day watching each other talk about what plays they like on on shit like this.
But it is pretty amazing though that you still have all these, as we call them, touts winning stuff. I mean, just look at the two guys on this show. Not you, Davis.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, birds chirping. So you look at Napster Man, and then.
Works for everything.
And then Tuttle, who both qualified for big tournaments. But eventually the industry is going to get so big where you're going to have plenty of touts. You're going to have just people playing for fun. I mean, Did you guys read the Wall Street Journal article yesterday?
The Sal Capsule one?
Yeah. It was a really good article, I thought.
He's amazing. He's like, he doesn't do any touting. He just smashes. Like I look at his lineups every night. They're amazing.
I mean, Corey is the man. He actually last year during the Nap, were you a part of the All-Star Challenge? I feel like you were. I feel like you may have been on the losing squad last year.
Oh yeah. That was like, what site was that on? That was fun.
Yeah, so we did it on.
That was every site. Yeah.
Yeah, we did it on all different sites. So
I think I actually won my little thing, but I was on a losing team. Yeah,
you were on Dan Bach's team, and his team was terrible. But Corey actually did. At first, he told me he wasn't going to do it, and then he ended up doing it. But he is just like, he has come so far in the past 3 years. He actually did have a site though, a tout site to start out with. What
was it called?
It's FantasySalary.com. I mean, it hasn't been updated in like 2 years, but that was like one of his original plans because he's also got a poker background. But I think that, like he said in the article, that once the industry just hits mainstream and people start paying for $20, that's when it's really going to be a printing press, and that's when like these shows will be valuable for people that are actually paying attention, because people are just going to want to have action on stuff. I also want, since we're talking about industry stuff, you mentioned like the salary stuff. Has anyone played over there? What's the site called that has the scoring system that is like you get negative points if you go over the cap?
No.
The one that popped up, Fantasy Aces.
Yeah, Fantasy Aces, yeah.
Yeah. Have you played that, Nap?
Yeah. They had some survivors to start out. They were pretty fun, but I didn't really study that kind of algorithm or that new scoring system they were doing. I just kind of made my best team and kind of noticed it at the end. But it was interesting. Like you could take all the top bats and lose like 10 points, but if they all homer, you're gonna smash. Like it's interesting.
I actually love the format. To be honest, I've never played on Fantasy Aces.
I played football there.
I like
user
the strategy.
What?
I like the strategy. Like, yeah, I mean, obviously their user experience, the marketing with Pablo Sandoval may not have been the smartest. You probably could have used those.
No, it was Matt Forte for football.
Yeah, it was Pablo for baseball because it was like kind of a big deal that a major league player was giving their endorsement to Daily Fantasy. Now it's fine. You have everybody. You have more and more athletes doing it. I know that even during basketball season, who was it during basketball season? Thad Young? Yeah, it was Thad Young, who actually recommended FanDuel You never saw that, Nap?
Oh, Mike Vick.
No.
Mike Vick. No, it's Mike Vick that did it for fan. I don't know about Thad Young, but
Thad
Mike
Young
Vick does it.
Definitely did it. Yeah, he definitely did it during the season. But Mike Vick is another guy. I think you'll see more and more of that stuff in the future. But anyways, I just like
Thad
talking.
Young posted attorney. Holy crap! Yeah.
I like the strategy element of like new stuff. That's why I like Fantasy Elite. It's a great game. I think it's like once Daily Fantasy hits the masses, you're gonna have people that are playing just like during coffee breaks, like during grilling. It's when I do some of my drafting.
It's sick to think like how big these pools are, and we're not even like 10% of all fantasy players ever even know about it. It's crazy.
It's not even 5%, dude.
It's not even 5. Yeah, it's just sick what it's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, once CBS or ESPN buys out one of the sites, that's when it's going to get real.
Yeah, Grant told me that. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know if I could say that. I don't know if his message to me meant that I could tell everybody. But anyway, there's another player going to be promoting FanDuel this season too. So that is it.
What a tease!
I know.
Oh, should I do my Kung Fu game? I kind of forgot that.
Oh, dang, we didn't do Kung Fu.
I got 1 minute. All right, so should I say it in 1 minute?
Yep. Yeah, go.
No. You got the music.
I don't have the
You
sound.
can't have a game unless there's music.
Davis, music.
I don't have the sound, so I'll just have to play.
No, Davis hums it. He's good at it.
No. Bang.
Boom. All right, so tonight's game, I just thought of it right when I thought of that we didn't do the game, so I just made it up. So it's gonna be birds chirping.
Birds chirping, bruh.
All right,
That's the sound that I had queued up for the end, so I don't have the Napster man.
the chirp challenge. All right,
Yes.
that's it. That could be Davis's game. Pick the swaggiest player of the night or something. All right, wow. So tonight, basically, pick the pick. Wow, what am I saying?
Oh god.
Pick one player. Someone picked a pitcher last time. That's why I'm trying to think of a word. Like, don't pick a pitcher that's batting. So only batters. So pick a guy who's gonna have the most extra base hits without having a single. If he has a single, he's eliminated. Does that make sense? So, homer, triple, probably going to win without a single.
Well, that's fun.
That's definitely Chris Davis.
Yeah. So, I mean, Davis can get some singles, but what you think, there should be tiebreakers? Like, there could be a lot of similar guys, like two doubles. Like, you guys pick the tiebreaker?
RBIs.
First to comment.
RBIs? Or do you think a homer? Like, if guys like a homer and
if
double,
they're two of the
three
same,
doubles.
Yeah, if they're two of the same hits.
Why don't you just have total bases decide it?
Sure. What am I talking about? It's way easier. Okay.
And if it's a tie, just get to whoever gets to you first. There we go.
No. If there's a tie for total bases, we'll do RBIs. There you go. TJ has it.
Oh, and make sure that you reward the right Renner.
Dude,
Renner.
You're spelling my name wrong. Like, I look at the mentions when I'm looking at the results. I didn't see it.
It was the numbers guy. He only used one A. He didn't use the two A's.
You missed an A, but we still got him a shirt.
Yeah.
Renner.
Renee in chat said, "Was it Jordan?" Because Jordan
pitcher.
always messes this game up.
No, she was asking that about the pitcher. So
except Jordan has a new job, so he doesn't even get to play DFS that much anymore.
What does he do?
I don't know. He works like a lumber yard or something. I don't know.
Oh, swag.
He explained it to me, but I was not paying attention because I was trying to do lineups.
That's not very swaggy.
You're such a good friend, David. All right, let's pull up this Fantasy Elite game. Nap and Davis I've flashed it a little bit. Well, probably shouldn't have said it like that. But basically have had this during the show, so you should see it. But it's basically Nap with Ventura and Peralta versus Davis and Correa. Both guys using
Correa.
Correa.
No, Dave's drunk again.
Yeah, sorry. Correa.
Honestly, I took Correa because I thought this game wasn't going to happen. Like when we were doing the draft, the forecast looked a little bit ominous, and I just wanted to take the 0.
Correa, you're on fire. So yeah, guaranteed dongs, real quick. Like not even under the radar dongs because the slate is so gross. So
Charlie Blackmon.
Blackmon. All right.
Dickerson.
Go out on a limb, Nap. Come on.
Nap is going to say some weird shit.
He's going to say like Duda off the bench.
David Peralta.
I don't want to pick. I mean, I think Owings is gonna just dong first at bat.
I knew you were gonna say Owings. The motivation factor. He's
wall scraper on the left. I think. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah, Carlos Corcoran's mine.
Can I do a guaranteed anti-dong? Like guaranteed to not hit one? Corcoran. guaranteed 4 outs. Carlos Corcoran.
Oh,
no, I want to use Corcoran somewhere today. Just so I can see what he's doing.
Corcoran. No, he's my catcher on DraftKings. He's way, but Montero can get out of my lineup.
Corcoran will be my entertainment tonight, regardless of what he does. It's going to be entertaining.
Oh, I'm going to sweat every at-bat so hard, because you know if he hits one, Tommy's just going to go off.
That's what I'm saying. Either way.
It's because he's done better this year. That's the reason. Even though his average has dropped like 80 points. But he's done better.
Either way, I'm going to be entertained. So
bro, he has 17 DraftKings points in 3 of his last 7 starts.
All right. Well, that will do it for today's show. Thanks to Napster Man, Davis Maddock,
Chirp them birds,
and Mr. Tuttle05.
I'll tweet out a birds update closer to lineup lock, you guys.
Please do. Join us tomorrow. We'll be with our regular cast and crew shenanigans. David, you know I'm looking forward to coming on the show tomorrow. So that was my Leone voice.
You know, Chico DeRizzi was a better player than Doug Fister. You just got lucky.
Kitchen, you better not have any Photoshop stuff tomorrow. I'm serious.
Did you say that?
Probably.
Oh,
yeah.
If you make me grimace one more time, I'm gonna quit.
Dude, Odorizzi got kind of rocked. Good.
Yep.
Very nice. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. Shout out to FantasyElite for sponsoring the show. Make sure you check them out. The 4X Challenge free roll during the All-Star break. And I'll tweet out the link from the Insiders DFS account. Later.
Stack those Astros.
Peace.
Corcoran dong.
Get those Astros.
Dong.
He's so dong. This is like a Ryan Rayburn situation.
Oh, we were so much meaner to Tuttle about Rayburn.
Oh yeah.
First at